Cardano's Vasil upgrade is right around the corner, but right now there's some things going on in the community that are kind of pressing. Certain people say upgrade, certain people say don't, and once 75% of block production on the Cardano main network gets to this latest upgrade, we can prepare for the Vasil hard fork. Here's the thing though, the latest version 1.35.3, and maybe you don't care about these numbers, I'm going to explain it in normal terms. Basically, this latest version has been the candidate for the hard fork. Once we get to enough people on this version, we can upgrade to the Vasil hard fork and start getting those Vasil capabilities. But the duality of Cardano Twitter says otherwise. We have certain people out there right now warning against a catastrophic likeliness or catastrophic possibility if this is to happen to be hard forked on the main network, and rather that we should deploy a fix to the test network first, a emergency fix, a danger crisis fix to the test network to see if it actually is ready for mainnet deployment, so we can have that full kind of density. And I'll go over this thread in a minute here about the testnet being broken. And then we also have people saying, okay, it's ready to go, upgrade to 1.35.3 on your main network, and once we get 75% of blocks, the hard fork event can be triggered. Matter of fact, even yesterday, the CEO of IOHK, one of the founding partners of Cardano, Charles Hoskinson, has went over and said, hey, if you're an SPO, then please start the upgrade path to the Vasil hard fork candidate 1.35.3. It's been heavily tested. It's more than likely than not going to be the version for the hard fork. So run through the dev network, pre-production, and then into main network. However, as you can see here, there's little notes. The version 1.35.3 will not work on the current old Cardano testnet. Please do not try to deploy it there. Now, what does that mean and what is going on? Well, basically, to point it out, Cardano testnet is catastrophically, I don't know if I'd use that word, broken due to a bug in the Cardano node of the previous version before this hard fork candidate. And this version had previously been told was tested and ready of the Vasil hard fork. This bug was only discovered after basically people upgraded testnet and discovered there's incompatible forks causing a decrease to the chain density. The concern here is that the testnet is still broken due to the majority of operators having upgraded to the previous version 135.2 on testnet to simulate a Vasil hard fork event there. 1.35.3 is now incompatible and incapable of syncing the chain. Legacy installations are still on one fork or another. Now we're testing 1.35.3, the version that is the candidate for mainnet for the Vasil hard fork, on two new testnets that do not have block history like the original testnet for Cardano and have not gone through the previous hard fork Cardano events there, and a simulation of multi-node version blocks on the chain. So there is some things that haven't been tested as thoroughly on these new testnets and don't have that previous kind of life or experience, basically code being put into it to really know if 1.35.3 is okay to run on the main network that does have those conditions of the old testnet that is now incompatible. So there is some cause for concern here. Adam then goes on to say that this level of rushing gives him an uneasy feeling, and that's an understatement. And then he's basically asking for IOG or Charles, someone to go ahead and go and make a tool kind of underneath their disaster recovery plan, but for the testnet. Basically, kind of as described here in this article, they have a disaster recovery plan in the event that something very bad happens. We're kind of more in event number one, network-wide partitions, where there's different partitions of a network, the old testnet being one partition and the new testnets being another. And are they really the right partitions? Are they the right ones that we want to be working on? And what kind of tooling can we implement to fix the old testnet to have that type of experience to simulate mainnet in a better way? Now, is this the end of Cardano? Definitely not. Solana shuts down once a month for many hours and halts block production completely. So no matter what happens, I don't think it's going to end Cardano, but it is something to take note of and wonder what's going on. Now, usually Cardano community members are a bit panicky and also a bit more just in the things that they're going after, the things that they're concerning about. Usually it does end up all okay, and usually Cardano Cardano people in the community are their biggest critics as well as their biggest fans. So I'm not going to say catastrophic. I'm not going to say this is the end all be all and it needs, Cardano's going to die if we don't fix this, but it is something to pay attention to and look out for a response, which is why I'm definitely going to leave this thread linked in the description, because likely there will be a response from either Charles or IOHK. And also to mention, there wasn't stake pool operators call today, basically people who run these nodes and mint blocks in the blockchain, and saying that there's going to be a post-mortem release on what's went on here. So indicating that there has been some thought throughout this, and they have kind of been aware of this problem or this situation, and we're going to hear more about it soon. Good news is another testnet is being spun up. Yes, it is a new testnet, but catching corner cases for the old testnet, which is ideal, more testing being done, so that's good. At the end of the day, though, I don't think that this is something to worry about and not get any sleep about. I do think that IOHK and the people behind Cardano that are deploying the latest versions and giving the green flags or the go-tos are going to also be aware of this. I don't think it's catastrophic right now, but I do think it's important to note that community members are looking out heavily for what is going on with Cardano's hard forks and new versions, and keeping everyone's best interest at heart. Matter of fact, yesterday, this post was previously a post just saying, hey, upgrade your nodes to 135.3 from Charles Hoskinson, and not really any other information about it, just saying he's going to tweet every day about it. Andrew Restberg just also kind of forced on that earlier tweet that, hey, you should definitely go through preview environment to DevNet to pre-production. Take your time, test things thoroughly. And then Charles Hoskinson deleted that tweet and retweeted it. As you can see here, Andrew has forced the clarity on the Cardano community and make sure that things are going okay. A lot of SPOs have now merged to the latest version, and I do think it's going to be the version that we use for Facil's hard fork. However, there could be bugs that come up that need us to slow down. I'm not a major developer, I'm not super into the technical community, but I do like seeing that people are, taking proper steps to make sure everything's okay when we go forward, and everyone who is an SPO and is doing things properly is also aware of the risks and things that are going on behind the scenes, especially when we can talk about them openly on Twitter, even if it may induce some FUD among other communities to come into Cardano. I think it's definitely worth the chit chat. I also want to mention, in terms of upgrades and looking for one source to say, is it okay to upgrade? We in Cardano are now in a point of a more decentralized state where each individual stake pool operator has to look at the situation, analyze it, and decide if they're going to risk it or if it's healthy to upgrade to the latest version for the Cardano node. Now, this is going to take 75% of SPOs to update and confirm to themselves that it's the best decision and the risks are worth the reward, or we are good to go and they've tested thoroughly. So that's one thing to say. Basically, we're at the point in Cardano where things are decentralized enough to be very confusing, and people are going to have to think for themselves and make their own decisions, especially when they are running a node on the Cardano blockchain. Luckily, anything that's happened and went wrong has only been in testnet so far. The idea of this thread by Adam Dean is to keep it that way, and it's by no means trying to bring people down who have high hopes for the Cardano Facil hard fork. But I do think also that the founding partners of Cardano kind of have this under control in a sense, but seeing pressure from outside community members is always going to make sure that their head is on a swivel and they're doing things the right way. So thanks, Adam Dean, for the thread, and thank you guys for watching. Everything so far has been going smoothly on the Cardano mainnet, and I do look forward to seeing IOHK's response and their post-mortem about what went wrong on the testnet to cover basically everyone's concerns and cause for concern about upgrading their nodes and SPOs going forward to the Facil hard fork on Cardano's main network. If you enjoyed this video, please consider staking with the Jack Stake Pool. Also, I encourage you to leave your comments, thoughts, and concerns down in the description in the comments section, or head over to the Twitter thread linked in the description for Adam Dean's and speak your mind there. It's always good to hear other people's thoughts and opinions, and it's never really going to hurt, especially when they're valuable feedback from technical community members. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. It's been your friend Jack. Peace out.